40 years ago, the game of table tennis led to a diplomatic breakthrough that went on to shape U.S.-China relations for decades to come. CCTV's Danielle Tran reports on the role of sports diplomacy in influencing bilateral ties between Beijing and Washington.
They're the two great superpowers of the Pacific Rim, and when their policies collide over cybersecurity issues or Island Sea, there's one arena where the competition always remains friendly. You might call it basketball diplomacy. In recent years, basketball has become an unlikely tool in bridging the divide between the United States and China. The best ambassador for this has been retired NBA star Yao Ming, arguably China's greatest sporting export, who says more will follow in his rather large footsteps.
You will see that much more in the future, many more in the future, the people like me, and not only on basketball, maybe on soccer, maybe on art.
The former Houston Rocket was in Washington, D.C. as a cultural diplomat. Former NBA Commissioner David Stern joined Yao for a discussion on how basketball brings both cultures together and the role foreign players like Yao perform in that link.
Yao is in a class by himself. He has a bridge of bringing America and closer to Americans through his participation.
Basketball was ping pong. In 1971, at the height of the Cold War, a group of American table tennis players visited China, a move that was widely credited for thawing a diplomatic deep freeze between the two countries. This so-called ping-pong diplomacy laid the groundwork for US President Richard Nixon's historic visit to Beijing a year later. With growing presence of the NBA, basketball remains front and center, helping these two countries work on common issues.
I think China and both China and the US, the relationship is growing so big and it's so important. It needs to be a bigger ball or bigger sports to replace it, and fortunately that basketball can be that one.
On diplomatic issues, Beijing and Washington haven't always seen eye to eye. This most recently played out with the crisis in Ukraine and the civil war in Syria. Still, this bilateral relationship remains an important one.
It's only through a more consistent dialogue between our top leaders on even the most controversial questions that are difficult to talk about but require answers.
Despite their differences, the love of a game, whether it's basketball or ping pong, remains an enduring bridge across the Pacific. Danielle Tran, CCTV, Washington.